Hello, hello, hello. Tamara Hamilton here, blog about the business of beauty. And I admit, today was one of those days where it's like, I made this commitment, but who's really going to notice if I don't go live? And the answer is, actually, I would notice. So here I am, funky fresh, in the flesh, dressed, ready to party. So we're going to do some masks and get this thing rocking and rolling. Rocking and rolling. Now I like to get all this off of here. Today is a very special day. Today marks 300 months ago I gave birth to my second and last child. Today is her 25th birthday, 25 years ago. That is a very important birthday in a woman's life. It was for me and for a lot of women that I talk to. So if you're watching and age 25 was kind of like this really kind of important, pivotal year, I want to hear from you in the comments because it definitely was for me. Woo, that was hot. That was hot. Lip scrub. Oh no, 25 was just that year where it was like I really definitely felt like I was stepping into, not stepping into, I was fully in my womanhood is what 25 felt like. It's when I made like, this is going to sound really material, but it's when I made the leap from Payless shoes to wearing more expensive shoes. Not even so much as a status symbol as it was because I was making more money. I was making more money. And I wasn't 25. I was only 23 when I had my daughter. But 25, you know, I definitely was more rooted in my career, making more money and making decisions based on not only my family, but my career as well. Oh my God, this is going to be so cold. And so that's when I started upgrading certain aspects of my life and started to look at things and see things a little more differently. Now, don't get me wrong. There definitely was market change when I had my first because, as I mentioned on a previous live, I turned 18 one Tuesday and had a baby the next. So I always say having my first daughter definitely made me a nicer person than I probably would have turned out without having had her. And you know, the adjustment from going from one child, the oldest just texted me of going from one child who was 5 years, like 5.5 years old almost, to having two was a big deal. So you mamas that are out there, I see you, I hear you, I totally get it. I always say after the birth of my second child, I don't think I went anywhere for like 6 months because it was a huge adjustment where I went from, you know, being able to just say, come on, Tarina, get your jacket, let's go, to now we got to get car seat, we got to get stroller. And I was driving a coupe at the time, so it was only a 2-door car. And, you know, we lived upstairs and going down the stairs, and I was living with her dad, but he was a help, but only in so many respects. And he brought so much more baggage that it was almost like I had 3 children. And then, of course, because I didn't get paid, I got my FMLA time, but I didn't get paid because I hadn't been on that job a full year. So I got 0 paid time for having her. So staying off for 12 weeks was not even an option. It was only 6 weeks, and I was actually willing to even go back at 4. because I needed my money, right? And so I had saved up a little bit, and we just really scrimped and did what we had to do for that 6-8 weeks. It really probably wound up being about 4 to 6 weeks because the paychecks lagged, but you get where I'm going. And so it wasn't even an option to take the full 12 weeks off. It was literally like 4 to 6 weeks, and I had to get back to work because, we had to eat. We had to get clothes on, and then that was when my oldest was going into kindergarten. So it was a really interesting time. I remember crying when my oldest went to kindergarten that year. I think it was just postpartum and all the hormones and everything, but my grandmother was babysitting. I remember walking into my grandma's house because my oldest would catch the bus from my grandma's house. And back then, when my kids' first week of school, I would always try to take off work. I didn't get to that year because I'd just come off of unpaid leave, and I didn't even have vacation time to use because you didn't even get paid vacation until you had been on that job for a full year. And so I remember pulling up to my grandma's house, and I just dropped my oldest off at school, and my grandma and aunt were there, and I just started bawling. I was just crying so bad, and they just looked at me and they felt so bad. But it got better, right? It got better. And so that was 25 years ago. And like I said, I don't know about you, but if you're watching, I definitely love to hear from you. Was 25 as a woman a pivotal year for you? Did something click? Did something tick? Did something, happen where you felt like you were at a different stage in life? Because I felt that more so at 25 than any other age in my life. And I've talked to friends, and they've all kind of agreed that 25 definitely was kind of that year. So if you're watching, I love to hear from you. Feel free to follow me and comment, interact with me. I love that. I'm gonna have another sip of my tea here. It is so hot and so challenging to drink this with a mask, but I'm loving the whole vibey look with the hair, the mask, and the shirt and everything kind of matching. So no steamer today because you don't want to overdo that. Hey there. It's Southside Unicorn. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Oh, this tea is really warm today, which isn't bad because it's a really cool rainy day here. Summer can show up at any time. I'm so ready for it to get warm and stay warm consistently because I like to take walks. I like to go to the beach. I like to hang out and work from the park. I like to, be outside as much as I can. You've been busy? Yeah, I've been busy here as well. Oh, someone sent a rose. Thank you, Southside Unicorn. Thank you. So my youngest turns 25 today. I don't think she has anything planned that I'm aware of, but wished her happy birthday. And it was really bittersweet because this is the child who, when I returned to work after that 6 weeks, I walked, got up that morning, got both kids dressed, and we go to my grandmother's house. And my grandmother opens the back door to her big house because there's this long driveway, and you go to the back door. And I remember my grandmother being so disappointed. She goes, "You got her dressed?" And that was the last time I took my child to my grandmother's house fully dressed. That was the last time I took her fully dressed to my grandmother's house. In fact, my grandmother began to stockpile clothes there and had her own stash of clothes there for them. So if it was like a really bad snowstorm or really cold, she would keep them there. And I wound up traveling a lot in that job. And so the kids would often spend a night at my grandma's, or they would be between my grandma's and my mom's while I traveled. And so, both my mom and my grandma had their own, stock of clothes and everything that the kids needed while they were there. I'll never forget the first time, this one time, I should say, I'd come in from work, and it took me a long time because I had a long commute. It was like 45 minutes on a good day, right? And so I'm coming to my grandparents' house to pick up my kids and take them home and have dinner. And my grandfather looks at me. He's really kind of upset. And he's like, "Haven't you ever heard of getting a hotel?" and stand your butt there instead of driving on these roads? And I'm like, honestly, no, I hadn't thought about that. I really hadn't, but thanks for the idea, Pops. So yeah, I know I was very, very fortunate. And don't get me wrong, it came with its ups and its downs. Having that type of family support, because sometimes there were issues with boundaries. But if I had it to do over again, I would certainly do it that way. And that's why I'm so passionate about being able to be with my grandkids when I want to and when I am needed. If I needed to be with my grandkids every day for their mom to be able to work, I would, because subconsciously, I think that I put myself in a position, because my grandson wasn't born. The idea that I was even going to be having a grandchild soon when I began this online marketing journey, it just wasn't even on the radar. It literally was not on the radar. But when my daughter told me she was pregnant, it was like, okay, we're going to do this. And so subconsciously, I think I was putting myself in a position, like I knew, I don't know if ancestrally is the word, but I knew I needed to be in a position it was my turn, right? My grandmother was getting up there. My grandfather had just passed away. My grandmother was getting up there in age. So, I wanted to, I felt like the torch was invisibly being passed on to me, and I needed to have myself in a position, because I wanted my grandchildren to have that same luxury that my children had. My youngest never went to a daycare a day in her life. Well, I won't say a day in her life, because I had family members who owned a daycare, and sometimes they would go to the daycare with family members, but not out of necessity, right? And so I didn't want my grandchildren growing up institutionalized in a daycare. I wanted them to be like my children were. My grandma, my kids would catch the bus to school from my grandparents' house, and my grandmother had connections. She made it so that they literally got dropped off and picked up in front of her house, right? And so that's the experience I wanted for my grandchildren to have as well, and they did. And so I think I subconsciously knew that I needed to start maneuvering and putting myself in a position to be able to do that same thing for my grandchildren. Because here's my personal belief: if more, especially children of color and specifically Black children, were able to return home at the end of the school day to loving arms of their grandmothers, their aunties, their mothers, to a home-cooked meal, to that family support, sitting around the table doing their homework, I personally, and I'd put money on it, I believe we'd have a better society. I believe that with all my heart, and that's why I'm so passionate about helping moms and young grandmas like myself get in position, still be able to create income, still be able to live a fantastic lifestyle, and be there for their babies. Like, that is truly the vision and mission that I've had behind my business since my grandson was going to be born. I think when I initially started, it was just to help women get out of the rat race, because the rat race was literally eating me alive, right? I was sick and tired of being overworked and underpaid and overlooked for a promotion. The corporate America literally sucked the soul out of me, and I still stand by to this day. Had I remained in corporate America over the past 10 years, I'd be dead. I'd be dead, because I'm a type A personality, and the narcissist in corporate America, the sociopaths in corporate America used that against me and manipulated that fact to their advantage and my detriment. So I 100% believe that I would be dead or near dead had I remained in corporate America, okay? And so my initial vision, I still have it written down somewhere, and I think I took it down off the website because I updated it, but I copied and pasted it just for documentation so that I have it. It literally was so that women wouldn't have to choose between their children and their career, right? I talked about this on the last live. If I had been able to found some sort of solution to be able to be home with both of my children and still, because I'm the type, I still have to have some sort of outside fulfillment. Don't get me wrong. I have to have some sort of outside fulfillment, something that's mine. I still need to be able to create. If I'd been able to find some sort of solution back then to be able to do that, I would have taken it hands down. But I only knew I could only believe I could only vision that it was corporate America was the way to change the trajectory of my family, to change my bloodline, to change my legacy, was through corporate America. Get that good education, get a good job. So I did it. Multiple master's degrees, got the bachelor's degree first, of course, and, worked in Fortune 20 companies and leadership roles. And it just wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. But more importantly, it wasn't for my family, right? That's the big thing. It wasn't right for my family. It just, and even with having the family support that I did, in the end, looking back, it wasn't right for my family, because if it was sucking my soul and killing me, that impacts my whole family, because the mom is literally the nucleus of the family. Whether we like it or not, it literally is all about the mom. And if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. If mama is anxious, everybody is anxious, right? And so that's, I don't even think I meant to go there. We were talking about my daughter turning 25 and 25 being a pivotal year, but this was all happening around 25, and then I lasted in corporate until I was almost 40, and I just can't. I refuse. I can't live like that. No. And now it's more important to me to remain free so that I can be there with my grandbabies when I'm needed and when I'm wanted. So that's the number one driving force behind what I do. It's not just about, making money off of people. It's not about just selling people products. It's about protecting the family. It's about the family legacy, and not just from a financial standpoint, but from a what's the word I want to use? But from a soul standpoint, the soul of the family. What is the family about? That love and that emotional health and healing the traumas. I did a post about that, talking about how I didn't set out for it to be a healing journey, but starting my business really has been a journey in healing for me. Being able to structure my day, design my calendar, my schedule, and my life in the way that I choose has allowed me the time, space, and energy in order to be able to deal with things from the past to help me heal. And then also, there's this quote, I posted it years ago, about when a woman heals herself, how she heals everyone around her. And that's literally what I see happening, healing relationships with my daughters and them being able to heal. And then that also healing my grandchildren. So this starting a business is not just about financial or time freedom for me. It's about something much deeper than that. And I'm just learning this. I'm just learning this recently, right? But it is what it is, and it's my story and it's my journey, and cheers. Thank you for listening. Oh, I think this mask is about dry. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that off, take a sip of tea, and then we'll do some more rolling here. Thank you for the hearts. I can't see who threw those up, but thank you so much. So I get it. Starting a business is scary. I get it. I get, as much as we like to say, don't listen to your friends and family. I get how difficult that is. I went through hell. That same family support system I'd had all those years when I dropped out of corporate America and wasn't looking to go back. There were some moments, there were periods of time. And in that support was looking a little not there, a little non-existent, right? And I was able to work through that. And I remember some really crazy stuff had gone down. And I remember talking to a really good friend at the time. And I'm like, I'm all in. I'm sold out. on my business. I gotta make this work, and here's why. Because the worst thing that could ever be taken from me has been taken from me. There's nothing that I can go through that's worse than what I'm currently going through. So game on, game face, and I plowed through and I did what I had to do, and here we are today. Is my business 100% where I want it to be? Am I 100% where I want to be? No, but I thank God for the journey. I thank God for the lessons. I thank God for the provision during all of this. And I know it's leading me somewhere, and I will continue to walk in my purpose. And I really believe we, especially as mothers, as women, period, but especially as Black mothers, there is so much at stake, and more of us need to be home with our babies. Now, I'm not saying that means we got to do all the cooking and the cleaning. I'm not saying that we have to go back to way back when, before women had all the things that we have today. I'm saying that there isn't anything wrong with being at home with your babies. There isn't anything wrong with that, right? Because I think for a time, we as a society, we got so wrapped into this independent, superwoman thing, that's the message that we gave. And that's why people like myself damn near killed themselves and almost broke down in the process. So I'm not saying we have to go back to that, but I am saying I think there's a happy medium between the two. I believe that with all my being. And so that's what you will see me going live and talking about. That's what you will see my content be about. If you have a conversation with me, just know that's always at what's my heart and what I am looking to change in the world, right? You got to be the change you want to see. And so that's how I'm doing that. That's what's up. That's how I'm doing it. And so if you want to be with me on this ride, just DM me or comment. I got you. I had 20 plus years of corporate leadership, like I said, all the way to Fortune 20 company, double master's degrees, and I've been building this business successfully online since 2013. And when I say successfully, that means I failed and come back. Okay, if don't trust these people and listen to these people that it was all that all they share is the highs. No, there were definitely some lows, as I've already shared with you. There were definitely some lows, and I figured out how to work myself through those lows and get to the other side. Okay, so I'm not sitting here and pretending that everything has been a cakewalk, that it's been sunshine and roses, but I'm successful, in my opinion, because I overcame those obstacles. I overcame those adversities. I pushed through. I kept showing up. I did the whole modify, adjust, and control to make it through. Okay, and you can do the same thing. And I can't do it for you. I can help you get launched. I can guide you. I can coach you. I can mentor you. The rest is entirely up to you. Like they say, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I can't make you drink. I ain't your boss. I ain't your mama. You have to want it. And for me, the driving force, like I said, for me wanting it was to change some things about my bloodline. And it doesn't mean that I come from a bad bloodline. Like my daughter and I were having this conversation the other day, about, just because you say something good about one person doesn't mean you're saying something bad about another person that it takes from another person. You can, so in that same respect, just because I'm saying I wanted to change my bloodline, saying that I wanted to change the trajectory of my bloodline doesn't mean that my bloodline was bad. But you can't, if it stays exactly the same, it's going to eventually deteriorate. So it's got to be constantly adjusting, updating, modifying, and improving. And let's be honest, we all know that the wealth gap between African Americans and other folks is real. We know that that's real. We know that that exists. We live it. And as a first generation college, that's something I need to come live and talk about, right? It's rough. It's not a cakewalk being first generation with that 4-year degree. It's not a cakewalk at all. Okay. So happy birthday to my baby, my namesake. Actually, they're both named after me. You just change a couple letters in their name. They actually have all the exact same letters in their name. You just switch two letters around and you get the other one's name, same middle name and everything, which I don't reveal because some things just ain't for the internet, right? Some things ain't for the internet. But happy birthday to my baby girl. She's a whole 25. She's been a very wise girl all the days of her life. She just, has that old soul. She was my grandmother was her best friend. My grandparents, she loved them infinitely, and we all miss them, and she definitely misses them. So I wish her a very happy birthday. And in the spirit of the internet, I'm wishing my baby a happy 300-month birthday, because that's how we do it on the internet, right? So she's 25. I calculated that comes out to 300 months. So we are done with that mask. I'm going to leave this on because it's a little juicy, but I am going to go now, and I will talk to y'all later. I'll probably be back live again because I want to do some demo of the glow drops, but I'm going to go for now, finish up my tea, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.